Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 48th episode of Tuesdays with Tobe. My name is Tobe Frierson, and as I say each week, I am thrilled to be back before you again today, not only with another topic, but with the final topic in what's been a 4-part series for us as we've been telling my dear friend Kelly's story, or as Kelly has been telling her story. Thank you so much for hopping back on. If you have not been with us for the last 3 weeks, there are 3 weeks of videos that I need you to hop back and look at so you can catch up and hear Kelly talk about the discovery and then hear her talk about the emotional toll that having cancer has taken on her. And then last week's message, she was literally telling you how people can help, how you can help. And then today, I am super excited for Kelly to be able to talk about the fact that she has victory and she also is in this fight. And so that's what we're gonna focus on today's message. But before we get started, please look behind me and let's say our family rules. During Tuesdays with Tobe, we will use kind words. Do your best. Always be honest. Forgive and forget. Be happy. Count your blessings. Laugh at yourself. Stay positive and love one another. As I said a little bit earlier, I am super excited to have you all in the space today as we wrap up Kelly's journey, Kelly's story. And today she's going to talk about her fight and her victory. And so please lean in, be really, really attentive. And we really hope this story has touched your heart, has impacted you to think about your own survival stories and those own things that have been super challenging for you. And also having the guts to share those stories so others can be impacted and so others can feel encouraged. So let's hear part 4 of Kelly's journey. Hello everyone, we are so glad to be back with you for this 4th and final episode of Kelly's journey. Kelly, how are you today?
Doing great.
Good, fantastic. We made it to the end of this little journey. Yeah, wow, over the last 3 weeks, you have been just so gracious with your story and so gracious with your heart. And this platform is going to be responsible with all the information that you've shared, and we're going to share with others, right everyone? We're going to share with others who will be encouraged and strengthened by your journey. But today we are excited to wrap it up by talking about not just your fight, which we've been kind of talking about, but your victory in that fight. So can you tell us right now in this moment, would you consider yourself feeling victorious? And if so, how? Why?
Well, to start, going back to an earlier episode about the kinds of support I received, during those initial moments of getting the diagnosis and just adjusting mentally to what was going to be forthcoming, my pastor, Tamika, of course, she called and she prayed with myself and my mom, and she left me with this scripture. It's Psalms 27, verse 13, and it says, I am still confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And so I hold on to that.
Right.
Like I quote that scripture daily when I'm able to be up and about, and I quote it, and I've taken that on, like I've absorbed it, and I believe God that, okay, I have this challenge.
Yes.
We faced many other challenges, like great challenges together.
Wow.
And you brought me through them. Literally, He's brought me through them.
Wow.
And so this is no different. It's hard, but it's no different.
Wow. So what does victory look like in the midst of a storm then?
Well, it looks like getting up.
Come on.
It looks like, recognizing when your mind is going to those negative spaces and pulling it back and saying, no, this is what God told me. This is my future is at stake. There are things that I haven't seen yet.
That's right.
That I'm like, no, I'm not leaving here until I see these things. So I've got to get up and fight.
Wow.
I've got to stay the course. And then with my dad, like he's a support system, and I laugh because he's just a natural fighter. It doesn't matter if it's the devil, people. It just doesn't matter.
Sure.
He's always like, my kids, you just don't go down without a fight.
I understand.
No matter what it is.
Got it.
And so He'll coach me. Like, I remember one time I was just shrieking, crying. And he literally had to like hold me up because I wanted to just.
And he would not let
He wouldn't let me fall. And he said, you can do this. You know, Daddy's got you. If I could take your place, I would.
Oh, yes.
But you got to fight this, and you can.
Wow.
You know, and he told me when I was preparing to get another treatment, he told me to show up. And that meant a lot because as a Greene, we show up and fight.
Wow, and Greene is Kelly's last name,
yes,
everyone.
That's my last name.
Wow, so what I just heard you say was, Tobe, you know, for me, victory looks like showing up every day. Victory looks like when I want to fall, letting somebody hold me up.
That's right.
Victory looks like that. So thank you so much for that. That is so what would you tell, what are you thankful for in this moment? You know, we're already saying that you're a fighter, you've got victory. So what are you thankful for right now?
I'm thankful to be here with you, my sister.
Aw,
because I didn't mention Tobe has been one of those people walking with me step by step. I'm just, this whole journey has just opened my eyes to the value of every day.
Every day.
And every moment.
Every moment.
Don't take people for granted because whether it's cancer, whether it's a car accident, I mean, your life can be altered like at a moment's notice.
I want to put a pin in that. I want to get on that. And again, you all have heard me say this on this platform, but I cannot say it enough because we're all human and we like to respond out of our humanness instead of responding out of what we know to be true. You know to be true now from Kelly's story at 37 years old that your world can change on a dime. You know that to be true. You just heard that. However, there is still somebody you need to call today. There's still someone you need to text today. You need to mend that relationship. You have to stop. My pastor loves to say this. When you're in the aisle at the grocery store, you see that person, so you dart over to the other aisle so they don't see you. Folks, we gotta stop. There's no time left for that. There's no time, and we're too old as well. We're too old and mature. I'm sure teenagers are not watching Tuesdays with Tobe. If they are, it's fantastic. But those of us who are here, Kelly's in her late 30s, I'm in my early 40s. Can you just call that person today?
Right.
Send them this link so they know, like, well, where'd that come from? I hadn't talked to you in 10 years.
Right.
So I wanted to put a pin in that as you talk to us about what you're thankful for. So I appreciate that. You know, what do you do for fun? Because we can just tell from you being here for the last 4 weeks, we see that big, pretty smile. You've talked a lot about friends and supporters. So what does fun look like for Kelly?
Fun, I think I mentioned it earlier, taking trips.
Yes,
so
you like to travel.
My cousin Pam would come down from Atlanta and say, okay, cousin, we're going here.
Aren't y'all like foodies? Don't y'all like trying certain?
We like trying a lot of different food. We like the beach. So traveling, one person has asked if I've gone out on dates, and I have. Cancer ain't stopping nothing over here.
Wonderful, good for you.
So, you know, it's just good to get out
right
of the house. And I mentioned it earlier, to break up the monotony and to not have cancer take over your whole world and dictate how you feel, what you do. I have a Bluetooth microphone that I break out sometimes and sing. You know, YouTube is the best.
YouTube is the best.
So I can karaoke right in my own home.
Wonderful.
And of course, all those dates take place outside in open air venues, so you still have to play it very safe.
Absolutely.
So yeah, pretty much those things. And when people come to visit, I just like to chit chat.
You do. You do.
So.
Absolutely. So we're glad to hear that you're having fun for sure. And then the last thing I want to ask you, we see you today, but if you all go to her social media, Kelly stays fly. She's just a beautiful woman inside and out. And so how did you not let this whole thing change that? Essentially, how do you stay fly out in these streets?
And that question comes from a very dear friend. I won't say her name, but She always takes things left. How do I stay fly in these streets?
How do you stay fly in these streets?
Well, in the beginning, I did make a commitment to still get up and, as they say, put your face on, you know, because for a lot of women, that's, you know, part of our, you know, feel good, how we get ourselves going in the morning. And considering I was working full time and getting myself ready, you know, for work and to be, you know, presentable to my students, I still wanted to kind of be in that same mode. So I get up and I, you know, I dress comfortably. For treatment specifically, I'll make sure I have on some eyeshadow.
Oh yeah, fly.
Yes, one of my baseball caps with some kind of positive message on it. And you know, the nurses always compliment me that you show up looking pretty.
That's right.
And you know, I just do that for me, for my own well-being, because I just I like color, I like
you do
makeup, so yeah, I have fun.
Good for you. Well, everyone, that brings us to the end of Kelly's journey, in terms of her sharing her journey with us. And Kelly, I want you to have the final thoughts today. One, let me start by saying thank you to all the Tuesdays with Tobe producers and all the... Sorry, y'all, I had to do that. I have all kinds of things in my head about this platform. When I was telling Kelly about this interview, I told her there was a makeup artist coming in from LA. She hadn't seen the makeup artist yet. Flight delay. Flight delay. But at any rate, let me do this over again. I just had to say that about the producers. I am, you know, for someone to trust me with such a powerful story, knowing that I've been doing this for less than a year myself, and I'm still trying to figure out how to speak to people in a way that will move and motivate them to be better versions of themselves. You have helped that tremendously over the last 4 weeks by sharing the best version of yourself you can share, which is your personal story. So I do want to thank you. I feel indebted to you for this moment. And so I appreciate you trusting me and trusting our viewers too, to take every single episode. Please go back from episode 1 that we did 4 weeks ago and to glean what they need in that moment or what a friend or a family member might need. So in closing, if you just look straight at the camera and however you want to wrap this up, feel free to speak to the people.
Okay, well, I would like to say thank you, Tobe, for giving me this outlet, for pulling this out of me, because I needed to share it. It was, I think you said, very cathartic for me. So thank you for having me. I would say to the audience that no matter what you're facing, you have a refuge in God, and He's always there, no matter what you're facing. Cancer, what else could you say is worse than that? Getting that diagnosis at 37 years old. It's nothing anybody would assume would happen to them, but it happened to me. There are lots of other tragedies and things happening to people, but like I said, God is our refuge, and He's also willing to rescue His children, to be there for us throughout our trying times. You just have to turn to Him. You really just have to turn to Him and trust Him. And then also allow others into your space. Allow people to love on you. Allow yourself not to be so strong. Because we don't always have to be strong. You know, there's honor to me in weakness. And the Bible tells us that God's strength shows up in our weakness, and we have to let Him in. We have to recognize our weaknesses, to let Him in, so that He can show up strong for us.
Wow, that's so good, sis. That's so good.
So with that, I thank you for listening to me. I hope that I've made sense and I haven't rambled too much. So yeah, so everybody be blessed. I look forward to sharing more more twists and turns and victories.
And Kelly, if some of the audience would like to connect with you on social media, how can they find you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram. It's Tigonian01. I do research people first, so if I don't accept your request,
sorry y'all,
this is me.
You gotta come correct.
I'm going to, like, I will message you and ask you who you are first before I accept your request. But I also have a page called Kelbell Wins on Facebook, where I've been chronicling my journey from the beginning to now. So
sounds like a good page to join.
Either I or another admin will research you and then admit you to the group.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, great. Kelly, again, it's been a pleasure. Tuesdays with Tobe family. Please, it goes without saying, we want you to send all the love, well wishes, support. If you're praying people, all the prayers, please send them Kelly's way. She already appreciates them.
Yes,
She already says a big thank you for them. As we do each week, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you back here next week as we've wrapped up Kelly's journey. Kelly, we love you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good day, everyone.